Mid-debuts affect the Billboard charts in a kind of way. There were some special moments on this week's Billboard charts, but for overall, it's a normal week. There's nothing that is too out of the ordinary. But nonetheless, I'm here to highlight it all. I am EJ, and this is Justaboiandhiscamera. We're kicking this off with the Billboard 200. And the Billboard 200 this week sees 8 new debuts. So let's see how they impacted this week's chart. Taylor Swift. She is a beast currently. Whether she's dropping new versions of her songs, whether she's dropping new variants of her albums, it doesn't matter. In this business, you gotta do what you gotta do to stay on top. Her marketing team are doing just that. So don't hate the player, hate the game. At any rate, Taylor Swift and the Tortured Poets Department album will spend its 10th week on top of the 200 chart. In its 10th week, it earns 115,000 equivalent album units. 87,000 of them units are from streaming. So she will spend a 10th consecutive week also over on the top streaming album chart. Taylor Swift joins an elite club. She is now just the 5th act to have 3 albums spend 10 weeks at the #1 position on the Billboard 200. This is the first album from a woman to do it since Adele did it in 2012. Ooh, we talking about over a decade ago. In the 21st century, there's only 11 albums to spend 10 weeks or more at the #1 position on the Billboard 200. Streaming has made it extremely difficult to maintain a longevity chokehold on top of the Billboard 200. But 11 albums this 21st century has been able to maintain 10 weeks or more on the 200s at the summit. Taylor Swift has 3 of them albums. Adele and Morgan Wallen each have 2. The remaining 4 albums will be spread out among 4 acts: Bad Bunny, Drake, SZA, and the Frozen soundtrack. That makes 11, y'all. Moving on with the Billboard 200. It is our first debuting album, and it is at the #2 position. And it is from good old Gracie Abrams. This is her best-selling week. This is her best charting album. This is her best streaming week. All great things for The Secret of Us bows at #2 with 89,000 equivalent album units earned in the tracking week. This will be Gracie's first top 10 on the Billboard 200 and her second career entry. The first week's sales was bolstered across 6 vinyl variants. And with these 6 vinyl variants, she sold 41,000 vinyl records, which makes it the #1 vinyl, which makes it the #1 vinyl album this week. It will be her first career leader on this chart. In total, she sold 50,000 albums, which makes it also the #1 physical selling album this week in America. So she lands at #1 on both the vinyl and top album sales chart, while taking the runner-up position on the Billboard 200. Morgan Wallen's One Thing at a Time just keeps selling. It earns 73,000 equivalent album units. It's up almost about 1%. And at #4, dropping from the #2 position, is Billie Eilish. Hit Me Hard and Soft. The album does earn 70,000 album equivalent units, and it remains on top of the top alternative albums chart and the top rock and alternative album chart for a 6th consecutive week. Bowing at the #5 position with his second top 5 debuting album is Peso Pluma. Peso earns 64,000 equivalent album units. This album was only available for digital download, so all of this is from streaming. Just imagine if he had a physical copy. he could, and multiple physical copies because of these variants, he could have easily taken down Taylor Swift or even landed at the number 2 position. But at any rate, he will take the number 5 and land at the number 1 position, debuting on top of the top Latin albums chart and the independent albums chart. This will be his second career leader on each of the tallies. First week performance of his album does push 17 tracks to the Hot Latin Songs chart. Pezzo now has 70 entries on the Hot Latin Songs chart. 40 of them are top 20 entries. Chaparral Ron, the fall and rise of a Midwest princess, is on the momentum train. Woo, woo, choo, choo. She earns her best streaming week. She earns her best sales week. She is on fire. And she's gaining more people's attention. This is exciting. She was on the up-and-coming queer artist list back in 2023. Then she dropped her album. It did not do much on any chart, and now it is soaring high. The album earns 61,000 equivalent album units. It goes on to sell about 15,000 albums, and it earns 46,000 units in streaming. She could very well enter the top 5 soon, and even probably be a contender for Taylor Swift's number 1 spot. Rising from number 10 to number 7 is Morgan Wallen's Dangerous, the double album. It earns 43,000 equivalent album units. Miss Ariana Grande is back again in the top 10. During the tracking period, she shipped the signed CD version of her Eternal Sunshine, and it brings her back into the top 10 at the number 8 position from last week's 23rd position, selling 41,000 copies. This is up 87% from last week. Charli's XCX's Brat will remain in the top 10 at number 9, earning 41,000 equivalent album units. Shaboozey, Where I've Been Isn't Where I Am Going, returns to the top 10, rising from number 12, rounding out this week's top 10 at number 10, earning almost 41,000 equivalent album units. A fun fact, if you didn't hear me, 6 women are inside the top 10. The Billboard 200 has not seen 6 albums by a female artist occupy one of the top 10 spots since September 21st, 2019. This is almost 5 years ago. Woo! At number 13, you will find Suicide Boy New Word Depression. What makes this album a standout this week? It dethrones Don Toliver's Hearthstone Psycho in its second week. And it now is the number 1 album on both the top rap albums chart and the top R&B hip hop albums chart. This now gives the rap punk duo their second career leader on the top rap albums chart and their first on the R&B hip hop albums chart. And right behind them at number 14 on the 200 is Don Toliver. So, he just got edged out in the second week, and he is now runner-up on both of the previous charts mentioned. We have come to our third debuting album, and it is from Kehlani. Welcome back, Kehlani. Her album, Crash, debuts at number 25, earning a little under 20,000 equivalent album units. This is Kehlani's 6th career entry in top 40 on the Billboard 200. The album will also go on to land at number 11 and 7 on the top album sales chart and vinyl albums chart. This is Kehlani's first top 10 on the vinyl chart, and this is her 6th consecutive career top 20 on the top album sales chart. Over on the good old genre-specific charts, it will bow at the number 2 and number 8 position on the top R&B albums chart and the top R&B hip-hop albums chart. This is also Kehlani's consecutive top 10 entry on both of these charts. And what is so special for Kehlani over on the R&B albums chart, that this is her 6th consecutive top 5 entry. The first week performance of Crash does send 3 tracks over to the Hot R&B Songs chart, and now Kehlani has 45 career entries. 50th anniversary release brings the group back onto the Billboard 200. It spends its 21st week and it re-enters the chart at 58. The original album was released in 1974. So it will make a debut this week. It makes a few debuts actually on several charts. The first one being the top album sales chart. It debuts at number 5. It sold 14,000 pure albums via its 50th anniversary, remastered across 4 vinyl variants and a 3 CD box set. Landing at number 5 on the top album sales chart gives the band its rare 41st top 10 out of the 123 albums that have charted. The band also earns its 20th top 10 charting album on the vinyls chart. And by bowing at the number 11th and 14th position on the top rock albums and top rock and alternative albums chart, the band earns its 68th top 20 charting album on each tally. We ain't seen Avril Lavigne on this chart in years, but she is back with her greatest hits album. The album bows at the 76th position, becoming her 8th Billboard 200 charting album. It goes on to land at number 8 and number 11 on the vinyl albums chart and the top album sales chart. This is her 2nd top 10 on the vinyls and her 7th top 20 on the top album sales chart. A couple entries down is our next debut. Entering the chart at 78 is The Story So Far, I Want to Disappear. This is the band's 5th career charting album, and over on the top album sales chart, it does land at number 10 by selling 9,000 pure physical copies. This is the band's 2nd top 10. The album was available across 5 colored vinyl variants, a standard CD, and a digital download. It does bow at number 5 on the vinyl albums chart, giving the band its 5th consecutive top 10. The band also earns its 4th career top 10 on the top alternative albums chart because the new album bows at number 9. This artist hasn't charted a Billboard 200 since 2020 when the Golden Hour charted by the top 20 at 18. But unfortunately for this artist, this debut is not as high. Instead, this artist was settled with the album bowing at the 97th position as Kygo's self-titled album debuts onto the 200. We go to Milestone achievement highlights. Yes, this is always my favorite part because longevity matters, people. Longevity matters. So the highest charting Milestone achievement right now is from Credence with Clearwater Revival. It is at the number 37 position this week, spending its 700th week on the 200. Yes, 700. Morgan Wallen's If I Know Me at number 56. It spends its 300th week on the tally. Spending its 200th week on the Billboard 200 is Melanie Martinez. Her album Cry Baby is at 96. While Bon Jovi may have one of the highest, biggest, longest drop from a debuting position, it will earn a Milestone achievement this week. Bon Jovi's Greatest Hits, The Ultimate Collection. It will spend its 350th week on the 200 in the 151st position. Coming in on our baby Milestone. Finally earning the status of Milestone achievement for albums because it earns its 100th week on the chart is Creed. Creed's Greatest Hits album lands at number 157 in its 100th week. Spending its 225th week on the chart at the 178th position is 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Trying. Also earning its 225th week on the tally is John Prada, California Sunrise, and it is at 183. And our last milestone album achievement goes to no other than Kanye West, also known as Ye right now. His album, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, spends its 375th week at the 200th position. That, my friends, is your Billboard 200, dated July 6th. And don't you touch that dial, because we are going right into the Hot 100, dated July 6th. The Hot 100 this week sees 15 debuts. And of them 15 debuts, half of them are from first week performances of newly released albums. Let's see how these Shake-a-Lake-a did, and if they disrupted the Billboard Hot 100, or if they just made a mid-debut. Can Sabrina Carpenter hold on to the number one position with Please, Please, Please? Or will she be dethroned by one of these 15 debuting songs? We shall see. Absolutely not. Please, Please, Please is not the number one song this week, but it's also not dethroned by any of the 15 debuting songs. No. Instead, the song is dethroned by the returning number one champs, Post Malone and Morgan Wallen. I Had Some Help rebounds to the number one position, spending its 6th week on top of the Hot 100. It's 7th week on the Hot Country Songs chart, and it takes over the Radio Songs chart. People are loving this song, and it's actually a really good song. I enjoy it too. I Had Some Help does become just the first song in 2024 to spend 6 weeks at the number one position. And we're already halfway done with the year. Shaboozey, a bar song Tipsy, has now earned its best charting position as it moves into the runner-up spot this week. Could Shaboozey be posing a takeover on next week's tally, earning his first career leader on the Hot 100? We shall see what happens. Jumping from 6 to 3 is Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us. So where does Please, Please, Please land? Well, it falls from the number 1 position to the number 4 position. And it's followed by Espresso in the number 5 position. Please, Please, Please will earn a second week at the number 1 spot on the Billboard Global 200. But it would not spend another week at number 1 on the global excluding US chart, as the sister track Espresso rebounds and dethrones Please, Please, Please to take its rightful spot on top of the global excluding US for a 6th week. This makes Sabrina Carpenter the first artist to occupy both number 1 positions on the Billboard Global 200 and the Billboard Global excluding US chart simultaneously, with different songs and no build collaborators. Go ahead, Miss Sabrina Carpenter, doing it all by yourself. By maintaining the number 1 and number 2 positions on both global charts for a second week, she is now just the first artist to achieve this feat for multiple weeks. Tommy Richmond's $1 Million Baby will slip 1 position to 6, and all the rest of the top 10 are non-movers. Hozier's Too Sweet is at number 7. Benson Boone's Beautiful Things is at number 8. Teddy Swims' Lose Control is at number 9. And rounding out this week's top 10 is Teddy Swims' Lose Control is at number 9. And rounding out this week's top 10 is Billie Eilish's Birds of a Feather. So what's shaking outside of the top 10? Well, Miss Chaparral Ron ain't playing with y'all, and when y'all ain't playing with her, well, y'all streaming her. That's what you're doing. Chaparral's Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess is doing wonders for her singles over on the Hot 100. She parks herself right outside of the top 10. Good Luck Babe is at the 11th position this week, parked right outside the top 10, looking to vroom right on into it next week. So we shall see if she succeeds and gets her first top 10 on the Hot 100. She does earn her second top 40 this week as Hot to Go rises from 55 to 38. And this is its first week leaving its sister track in the dust. The sister track, Red Wine Supernova, was left behind when the last 2 weeks it's been right behind its predecessor. But now it's left behind. It does not enter the top 40, but it does rise. It rises from 54 to 46. Last week, Ron debuted Pink Pony Club on the Hot 100 at 90, where this week it rises to 66. And finally, because the album sold so well and rose up a new peak position inside the top 10, it also debuts a new single onto the Hot 100 at 82, giving Chaparral Ron her 5th Hot 100 entry, all in the year 2024. Coming into our next debut is an automatic top 20 for both artists, as Post Malone and Blake Shelton's Pour Me a Drink debuts at number 12. This is Post Malone's 79th career entry and 30th top 20, while Blake Shelton celebrates his 43rd entry and his 6th top 20. Miss Ariana Grande, The Boy Is Mine. The remix was released with Monica and Brandy. However, they are not being credited this week for the success of the single, rising from 74 to 29. I call bullshit, but I'm not Billboard and I'm not Lemonade. And I couldn't tell you if it was the remix or the original version that credited this, but I can speculate that without the remix, this song would have not risen 45 spots 1 week after the debut of the Boy Is Mine remix. So I'm going to go ahead and say congrats to Monica and Brandy, and Billboard, fix yourself, because a lot of these artists that I know damn well are helping these original songs are not getting credit. And we need to know why. What is going on? But at any rate, we find another debut earning another top 40 to her career total. It's Karol G. Debuts at 34 on the tally. This gives Karol G her 31st career entry, and it's her 9th top 40. But over on the Hot Latin Songs chart, she's blocking it from the number 1 position, and she will debut at the number 2 spot, taking the runner-up position. That is her 64th career entry on the Hot Latin Songs chart and her 27th top 10. Tommy Richman, he's back again on the chart, and he finds himself earning his second career top 40 as Devil Is a Lie rises from 47 to 35 in its 3rd week. Rising to number 9 in its 2nd week over on the Hot R&B Hip Hop Songs chart, he earns his second top 10 entry. And our last artist to earn a top 40 this week is powered by her 1st week album sales, and it's Gracie Abrams. The Secret of Us pushes 2 new debuts and rises an already charting song up the tally. Close to You, landing at 60. And now the 2 new debuts. The first one lands inside of the top 40 at the 36th position, and it gives Gracie Abrams her first top 40 entry on the chart and her 3rd career entry. The highest debuting song from her album's 1st week sales is the one she did with Taylor Swift. It's Us. This now gives Taylor Swift her 264th career entry on the Hot 100. And it goes on to be her 165th top 40. Gracie Abrams will also earn her 4th career entry and 2nd this week as her single Risk debuts at 94. Glorilla, she lands her 6th career entry on the Hot 100, landing TGIF at 47. The song also bows at the 11 and 13 position on the Hot Rap Songs chart and the Hot R&B Hip Hop Songs chart, giving her her 6th and 5th consecutive top 10 charting single. Ella Langley featuring Riley Green can thank TikTok for this one. TikTok has been busy using their song across thousands of videos. And You Look Like You Love Me makes its Hot 100 debut at 53. This makes Ella a first-time Hot 100 charting artist. She earns her first Hot 100 entry. Green goes on to earn his 5th career entry on the Hot 100, and this is his highest charting song of his career. The song also debuts on the Hot Country Songs chart at 15. This gives Ella her first top 20 entry and Green's 8th. At the 57th position, we'll see Mustard and Travis Scott debuting with Parking Lot. This is Mustard's 8th career entry, and this is Travis Scott's 117th career entry on the Hot 100. It will also bow at the 15th position on the Hot Rap Songs chart. This is Mustard's 5th top 20 and Travis Scott's 71st top 20. Her Brat album is doing amazing. As I said, it maintains inside of the top 10 on the 200. And she debuts a new song onto the Hot 100. Teaming up with Lorde brings Lorde back to the chart after being absent for a hot minute. Girl, So Confusing debuts at 63. And Charli XCX will earn her 7th career entry, while Lorde earns her 10th. On the Hot Dance Electronic Songs chart, rising from 25 to number 3. Girl, So Confusing give Charli XCX her 11th top 10 charting song on that tally and Lorde's 2nd. Now we come to Peso Pluma's success on the Hot 100. His album debuted at 5 and pushes 3 tracks over to the Hot 100. Peso Pluma will land at 69, 91, and 99. He earns his 29th, 30th, and 31st career entries this week. And not just him, he brings several artists with him. The following will also earn new career entries. Ivan Cornero earns his 4th. Nathaniel Cano earns his 4th career entry and his 3rd with Peso. Gabito Ballesteros earns his 2nd career entry. And lastly, ironically, the artist that I'm presenting this week on Music Highlight Thursday, Newton Vega, earns his 2nd Hot 100 career entry. Jordan with his song Kalani. Once again, thank you TikTok. He has become a viral sensation, and he officially makes his Hot 100 debut with his first career entry. The song Kalani will debut and bow at number 70. He also earns his first top 20 on the Hot Rap Songs chart and Hot R&B Hip Hop Songs chart, as the song Kalani lands at 17 and 20 on each chart respectively. Woo! Come on, legacy, legends, icons in the alternative rock community. Coldplay is back. They earned their 25th career entry with Feels Like I'm Falling in Love, and it lands at 81 this week. But over on them Hot Rock Songs chart, Hot Alternative Songs chart, and Hot Rock and Alternative Songs chart, they earn another top 10 entry on 2 charts and a top 20 on 3rd chart. Woo! Landing at the 8th, 9th, and 12th position on each chart respectively. They do earn their 17th top 10 on the Hot Rock Songs chart, their 4th top 10 on the Hot Alternative Songs chart, and their 26th top 20 entry on the Hot Rock and Alternative Songs chart. Good old Jason Aldean finally sees momentum and movement up the Hot 100 with the song Let Your Boys Be Country. It rises to 85 this week, and he goes on to earn his 21st career top 20 over on the radio songs chart. Good news and bad news for Miss Lainey Wilson. Hang Tight Honey does re-enter the Hot 100 this week after falling completely out. It re-enters the chart at 89. But this does not bring any good news. Over on the radio songs chart, it is at number 50, which is the last position on this chart. And if it should fall off, it's going to break her consecutive top 20 charting song
streak.
So last week I pointed out Don Toliver has had a love-hate relationship with the Hot 100, as most of his songs only spend 1 week on the tally before completely falling off. Well, the streak continues. Out of all the songs that we talked about last week that debuted onto the Hot 100, only one remains, and it lands at 97. So he does maintain one song that debuted last week, which now pushes his career total of 2 weaker charting songs to 9. But it does also push his career total to 13 of 28 entries that have only spent 1 week on the tally. We win some and we lose some. Good old Fantasia said it best. It's bittersweet. The last things I want to highlight before we wrap this week's Billboard Weekly review up is over on the genre-specific chart, and it's the Hot R&B Songs chart. Kylie Eustace will earn her 5th top 10 entry as Never Be Yours debuts at number 7. And good old Skylar and Chris Brown, their single Wake Up dips into the top 10 on the Hot R&B Songs chart. And now Chris Brown earns his 50th top 10 entry on the Hot R&B Songs chart, while Skylar earns her 1st. This brings me over to the Adult R&B Airplay chart, where the legendary Keith Sweat earns his 3rd career leader on this chart with Lay You Down, taking over the summit position in its 20th week. Thank you for joining me as I recap all things Billboard from the Billboard charts dated July 6th. It's your boy EJ. Peace, love, and happiness.